Hi, friends. I'm Katie.
And I'm Lauren, and welcome to Okay, But Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Today, we're recapping and chatting about Bob's Burgers Season 4, Episode 17, The Equestranauts, and Episode 18, Ambergris. We always start off with a synopsis. Bear with me because this was a very interesting one to write.
I'm
But
sure.
The Equestranauts. Tina's favorite show, The Equestranauts, has a local convention the family is attending. Bob stays behind and learns from Teddy the convention isn't for children. It's for adults who enjoy the show called Equesticles. I really just said Equesticles. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
Tina meets some Equesticles, and it ends with the leader of the group, Bronconius, convincing Tina to trade him her chariot doll. Louise overhears that Tina's original horse is a rare addition, and the family plans to try to get her doll back. Bob agrees to go undercover as an Equesticle to get Tina's doll back. He infiltrates the group after a night of research with Tina. He gains the group's trust and does all he can to try and get the doll back, leading to him to get forcibly tattooed. They get to the chariot doll back, and Bob will live with the memory on his body for the rest of his life.
Yep. That's the episode.
But hey, I am very proud, very, very proud of that synopsis.
It's a great synopsis.
Let's just do our puns because I think those may make you feel a little bit better.
A little bit. Not. Yeah.
Bacon
The
storefront.
diarrhea with the secondary sign being explosive sale.
So this is for diarrhea because the show can't get any more. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Pest control truck.
Those spray anything exterminators.
That's for say anything.
Yeah.
And a happy Lauren.
There was a single burger of the day in this episode.
But there's a burger.
There is a burger, but it's just one though. Now, and I'm greedy. Now I want more burgers. The burger of the day was the Life of Parsley burger, which I'm assuming is a Life of Pi reference.
The Life of the Party, 1930 film.
That makes more sense.
Mm-hmm. So we had some fun guest stars this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So Sun Puddle was played by Kurt Braunholer, who is a comedian, and he's done like a lot of voiceovers.
Yeah.
The voice of Bronconius was Paul F. Tompkins.
Okay.
So he's a pretty well known, I think, for BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
Horseplay is Ron Funches. He's a comedian, and he also played Cooper in Trolls.
Okay.
And David Herman played Pony Danza. So Mr. Frond, the guy who voices Mr. Frond, voiced Pony Danza.
Nice.
All right, are you ready to find out who you get to be mad at?
Yes, I do. Who do I get to be mad at for this episode?
This is the first episode to be written by a cast member.
Oh.
And the only episode where the cast member was the sole writer.
Why do I get the feeling I know who this was? But
who do you think it was?
I want to say it was Kristen Shaw, but I feel like I'm wrong now.
It was Dan Mintz.
Dan Mintz from this episode. Okay, well, Dan Mintz will be getting my therapy bills.
It was freaking Dan Mintz. He wrote this.
All right. There you go.
So, I am very curious. Dan Mintz, are you a brony? We do not judge in this household, but I am just curious.
Well, I mean, that does make sense that he wrote this because, I mean, he does stand. I mean, a bunch of them, I think almost all of them do. He's Tina. I think almost all of them do stand up. And the marker I always say I love a lot of comedy is like sometimes these things are quite frankly either too specific or too stupid to be made up. And this type of episode where you go to a My Little Pony / Power Rangers convention and you expect it to be all girls and it's all grown men.
Yep.
Is sadly based on reality.
So this episode is the entirety of it is an allusion to the 2010 animated series My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. So a very specific My Little Pony because My Little Pony is very old.
I still stand by that it was just as much My Little Pony as it was the Power Rangers.
Yeah, their abilities and their like armor and stuff very much made it feel Power Rangers.
I'm shocked they didn't turn into a giant mecha horse.
Honestly. So, Equesticles, as we've already said, is an allusion to bronies. These are male fans of the show. As you see, they're all dressed as horses. Equestracon is an allusion to the various conventions that are hosted for like panels of this show, Which I'm really curious, like people, the voice actors for like My Little Pony, I kind of want to look up to, know
I
how
have no idea.
they feel about that part of their fan base.
I don't know. The only voice actor from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic that comes to mind is Tara Strong.
Okay.
And she is the voice actor for a lot of things. So I
Yeah.
don't necessarily like her fan base is all over the place. I couldn't tell you how she feels about the grown men that love My Little Pony because she voice acts she's on Teen Titans, she's the Powerpuff Girls. She was our entire childhood basically.
Yeah.
Like she was Dill Pickles from the Rugrats. She was Melody, Ariel's daughter in the second Little Mermaid movie. Who else has she been? She was Timmy Turner.
Yeah.
She replaced the original voice actor for Timmy Turner, but she was Timmy Turner. I think she's Rocky in a recent reboot of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
They rebooted that?
Yeah, at some point.
Wow.
I don't know what else she's done. She's done a lot. So
I just think obviously there are fan bases across, like for a lot of us, like right now, my daughter is officially watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, the original cartoon.
Okay.
But of course, we grew up with that on our TVs. So it's very interesting seeing that. But like, I've enjoyed, we both have, of course, enjoyed Steven Universe. There's a lot of cartoons. Adventure Time's one that comes to mind. A lot of us, like adults, still like this media. Well, Bob's Burgers is technically an adult media.
Technically.
They just make it more family friendly. So it just made me curious of like, I'm really curious how some of these voice actors like feel, or even the creators feel, because at the end of the day, it's making the show money. People are watching it. And I guess it's just one of those things that can show that even if the media is meant for a certain audience, doesn't mean that another audience isn't going to pick up on it.
Yeah, I would say Steven Universe. I found it more or less as it was airing. I was in college, so I was like still kind of I was like 18, 19 years old when I found it the first time.
I watched it with my daughter.
Oh. So like I can't say I was too far out of the target demographic, which was probably 10 to 15-year-olds would be my guess of who their target demographic was, because that was a show that was like, it started out very Cartoon Networky and then very much turned into like, here's the trauma that being a war criminal does to you.
Yeah,
like that show went pretty deep. And not to say that kids shows can't get deep, but it definitely it's a case also of like, at some point I'm like, it was probably always part of the plan, because the joke is that the entire plot of the show is in that Cookie Cat song that you hear in the first 5 minutes of the show. So it always was the plan, but also like you do wonder, did they make it a little more dark and emotional and more explicit with the darkness of the topics that they were talking about, because they knew that a lot of the fan base were adults?
Yeah, it's interesting when you think about it. Like, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Xander thrusting Horse Valley into 1,000 years of darkness is a direct reference to the plot of the first episode of Friendship is Magic. And I already knew that because I've seen so much of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. My daughter
I've seen none.
My daughter has had a My Little Pony phase. It ended quickly.
Okay.
Now it's all about oh my god, what is that one show she's always talking about?
Owl House.
Oh my god, it just left my brain. Owl House. And now she's watching Avatar. Like she's getting older. Tina's Equestranauts comics are published by Bento Box, a reference to Bento Box Entertainment, and that is actually the show's animation producers.
Oh, nice. I like that.
And then they do that too on the cover. Mintz, Bouchard, Dillahay are listed as writers, and Wong, Theus, and Lim are listed on another. These are all cast and crew members. As you heard, Bouchard and Mintz are probably the easiest ones to pick up on.
Yeah.
One of the Equesticles in one of the scenes is seen holding 2 coconut halves.
Oh, like Monty Python?
This is a reference to Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which I thought was, when I saw that in the wiki, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
A book at the saddle stall when she's like, oh my god, this is $95. Why is a toy? That's $95. My goodness. But the book scene is called Appraising Saddles, and that is a play on Blazing Saddles. The restaurant at the convention center is branded as the Equestranauts. I can't say it. It's Equestra and then Ront. So Equestraunt.
Okay.
It's hard to say.
Equestraunt? Yeah.
Equestraunt.
Mm.
And the last thing is Bob's pony character is Bobcephala. This is a play on Bucephalus, which is the name of the horse of Alexander the Great.
Oh, okay.
So kudos to Dan Mintz for like fitting in some interesting things in this.
Yeah.
Like he did a great job. Like for what it is, he did a great job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And now the scary question. What'd you think?
I do have thoughts. Oh no, Tina is going to go to the convention thinking it'll be other little girls, but it's gonna be bronies. No. And that is exactly what happened. But I do love when Bob was talking about things, and he's like, why would the horse be called Chariot? I'm with you, doesn't make sense. But then he went,
Yep.
Oh my god, why am I analyzing this show? And I ask myself that every week, Bob.
I wrote that down too. I was like, oh my god, why am I analyzing the show? I go, same, Bob.
Like
same.
that's just life now. But well, also the Equesticles line when she says, "I'm not a grown man." They went, "Oh, you can barely tell." Well, very nice. But I guess it is kind of reference to the fact that she's played by a man.
Yeah.
So there is that.
Which,
and I did add this, and this is actually apropos because I saw a TikTok kind of about this today. It was like, to be fair, cosplayers are usually the absolute kindest people you can find. Second, maybe only to drag queens. So Tina could be in worse hands. That's before I saw the rest of the episode, because later on I did write, Bronconius, this is not in the spirit of cosplay. Stop critiquing Bob. This is not what the Equestranauts are about. And then I also went like, I regret saying that cosplayers are kind people. You made a fool of me, Bronconius. I was just...
Oh no, you made a fool of me, Bronconius.
I was just ranting into my notes, because to be fair, I go to conventions a lot. I cosplay. Not very well, but I do cosplay. It's like, truthfully, cosplayers really are the kindest people you will ever meet, because they're so excited to see you in costume. They're excited to show off their skills of whatever it is that they have created. And like, even if you're not from the same fandoms, but you know someone else's fandom, like that they're wearing, cosplayers are just generally very nice people. You know, if you need something fixed, or someone's gonna let you know that like something on your costume is array, like they really just want to help you. So like, she could have been in worse hands, but then I saw with the trading for the camel toe horse, which again, I reiterate, sometimes things are too specific to be made up. I wouldn't be shocked if we Googled something similar to that. I'm not going to, but I'm sure if we Googled something similar, we would have found a toy that had some kind of production issue.
I am not going to Google what My Little Pony doll out there probably has a defect.
Yeah.
And is rare.
Yeah, like defective.
I don't know how I feel about I don't know how I would feel about having that in my search history.
No, I've Googled enough weird things for books. I don't want to Google defective My Little Pony toys.
Speaking of costumes, though, when you were talking about cosplay, though, when Linda goes, and I've always wanted to make you a silly costume that you have to wear in public, I was like, kinky, Linda.
Yeah, right?
All right.
But I do appreciate like that Bob did go through all of that. He read the comics, he watched the shows, he listened to his daughter.
He's such a good dad.
He's such a good dad. He did all of that so he could infiltrate and get her toy back. Like that's not light work, especially for someone that runs a restaurant all day and is like is likely tired and didn't think this was a good idea to begin with. Like he's still going to do all of this for her, and that is just like I love the plan of Bob as the undercover Equestical, even if Tina did realize that he read something non-canonical by accident.
Yeah, the whole act like a man and use a pony name. Like he stepped up for his daughter. I loved it.
But when they were at the party, my response I wrote down, I'm like, that drink has horse tranquilizers in it, doesn't it? Like they're saying like it'll like get you in the spirit of the night. I'm like, is there horse tranquilizers in this? Like, what is that?
I wrote down, do bronies party this hard? And then I wrote, do I really want the answer to this question?
I do not want the answer to this.
As always, we are not judging.
No.
We are just, that is their space.
Exactly.
And we're going to leave it that way.
We're going to let them have their space, as is their right, as we like to have our space. This is neutral fandom territory. We don't hate other people for things.
Yep.
We just...
Which I did write down, though. We don't sound like this with our shows, do we? Like, when they all start talking about the show, I'm sitting here, I'm like, is this what we sound like?
Oh, no, we absolutely do. Like, we're not pretentious about it, but to be fair, like, it's a podcast. There has to be a level of pretentiousness with it if you're gonna dive this deep into a show. Like, I joke about like the stuff that with the stuff that I put on the once upon a time TikTok when people ask me questions and I have to analyze things. I usually do them with a level of like, I have to talk as if I'm talking to the dimmest light bulb in the chandelier is the nicest way I can phrase that, because if I over explain things too much, people will ask more and more questions because they didn't watch the whole video. Like, I have to I hate using the phrase I have to dumb things down, but I have to oversimplify them, or else but why or
you have to keep it simple.
I have to keep it to the question being asked, because otherwise I get endless but why or but what if questions. And at one point I was like 7 comments deep and like, but what about this? What about that? At some point I went, I'm done with this, because my answer is remaining the same regardless of the context. As people were asking how I'd feel about, like, or how I thought it would have worked if they had changed, like, for the final season of Once Upon a Time. Do I think it would have been better received with insert thing here? My answer to all of them is no. The only way it would have been received better is if every character who was in season 6 existed as they did in season 6 in season 7. That's the only way the fans would have been happy. But people kept asking, but what about this? What about that? I'm like, the answer is always no. One person asked, how would I have felt if they recast a main character? And I went, I'm saying this in a joking tone. I say at the very beginning of the video, I'm like, this is meant to be taken jovial, and then I'll go a little more into it. But still, I was like, do I think that this would have been better if they recast this person? I mean this in the nicest possible way. Have you met the fans of Once Upon a Time? Like, no.
And which makes me think of like the Bobs. It makes me think of the Bobs fandom as well, because I finally introduced you to a little bit of like what does go on in the Bobs fandom. And but how'd you feel about that?
Not great. Not great.
Not great. Yeah. Every fandom has their, constant debates and feelings. And I mean, I've seen even some people recently talk about like there's too much singing in Bob's Burgers. It's which for me, I'm like, that's been the whole time. Music is such a big part of this show. And then I have seen someone comment before. I've seen a lot of people that are just like, I wish they had kept it more adult, which I get it. But like but like on a personal level, exactly. I get so much out of this as a family. This is not one I tend to let the kids
I will
watch.
say, with the Once Upon a Time fandom and the arguments and all that, I've left the argumentative side of the fandom in my past as best I can. Like, my sector of the fandom that I see a lot is my account. So it's people asking me questions and I am giving you an answer. And it's usually, I'm like, I was asked my analysis, my opinion. If this is wrong, if this is different than yours, so be it. I'm not arguing with you. I'm not arguing with you unless your argument is factually wrong based on canon. Which sounds stupidly pretentious, the way that I just said that.
Which just makes me think, non-canonical. Like, that is going to be in my head. Anytime anything happens now with the rest of this podcast, we're just going to have Tina's voice in our head yelling non-canonical.
But what is it that I always say about some of the characters on Once, though? Because some of them I have some very strong opinions about, even though they're in very little of the show, because I forget what's canon and what isn't.
Non-canonical! So Bronconius is a person.
Yeah, he is a person. He thinks that he can be made immortal by sucking the life out of rare toys, basically.
So,
I guess it's a little bit of picture of Dorian Gray, but it's not of him.
I feel like with that, it kind of shows that like not everybody in a fandom is a safe space, though. Yeah. Like, he was very much the like, hey, I'm a little out there. I don't make much sense, and I'm not very nice. Because like, when it comes to this type of culture, I think a lot of people, when they have this type of thing, it kind of, the best way I can say it, wait, let me see if I can say this correctly. Very much nearing the end of the episode, we kind of get to this point of, it's like, you can tell it's also almost like a furry thing.
Yeah. Well,
in some aspects.
I wrote down once they got to the after party, oh, here comes the horseplay kink.
Exactly, the horseplay kink. And I don't know, which if you are into that, we do not kink shame here. I literally wrote, we do not Linda. Kink shame here. But that's why I don't let the kids watch this episode. But yeah, Bronconia, yeah. So, talking about continuity.
Yes.
You will continue to see Bob's tattoo of his little horse tail.
Okay, I'm okay with
For the
this.
continuation of the show. He still has his little tattoo.
I'm okay
which
with
is one of
this.
my favorite
But
things.
I do like what you said about like that. Not every fandom space or not every fandom person is going to be a safe space, because I do agree that, especially with these kinds of fandoms, when you're meeting people for the first time in these kinds of places, it's just the expectation is that these people that you're meeting online possibly are safe spaces, and you never know until you really get to know somebody. And that's like what I try to do with the Once Upon a Time account. I try to make that, I used to say positive, I'd like to keep it as neutral a space as possible, where like I am going to critique your favorite character. I critique the whole show, but I make that very clear. There's going to be critique on all sides here. It's never an attack at you. I always make that very clear. I'm like, we may disagree about things. You may like a character that I dislike, and vice versa. I may critique your favorite character with whom you might want to see no flaws, but I'm going to find something, because that's how I operate, and that's what's happening here. But it's never an attack at the person. It's all, I always make that as clear as I can. I'm like, if you take it as that, I can't help you there. But like, I'm always critiquing the writing. I'm not critiquing the character. I'm not even critiquing the character. I'm critiquing the writers mostly. I'm not critiquing, and I'm never critiquing the fans, because what someone else likes in a character that I dislike doesn't matter to me. Like not that it doesn't matter, but the fact that you like a character that I dislike, or you find something likable in that character, I think that's phenomenal, because I think that means that the writing has done its job. Media is meant to be subjective. We're meant to find different things in each character based on our own personal experiences. So,
oh yeah, because like this episode, I'm sure there are plenty of people who this is probably their most hated episode. Yeah. They don't like it. They feel weird watching it. You and I seem to both like, it's definitely weird.
Oh yeah,
it's definitely out there. I love it. Like my score is kind of like not entirely like, oh my god, I love it. It's not like a 30 or anything, but it's not one I'm gonna skip.
No, that's totally fair.
So speaking of, what did you rate this?
I gave it a 9 for personal and character, and a 10 for plot. This episode gets a 28.
Wow.
This is what I kept saying when I was texting you. I was texting like, Equesticles? Really? Like, it's so weird. This episode is so weird. But much like with the wine train episode last week,
yes,
I cannot quantify or qualify why it was met. It just was. I just kind of was watching it the whole time. It was just like, I kind of don't care. This one had me, even though it's weird. But I think it's because it's the con thing. It's the fandom thing. That's what I really know. But like this one, for how weird it is so well written. The plot is continuous chaos from beginning to end. But it's all chaos that makes sense. It's all chaos that's interconnected. Bob is a phenomenal father in this episode. And I cannot explain it other than it was a really enjoyable episode to watch.
So you need to send a thank you card with your therapy bill to Dan.
Yes, I will thank him, as well as be like, making me say the word Equesticles. Please,
as many times as you have.
As many times as I have. Please pay these bills.
So my rating is not as high, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I gave plot and character 7s and personal 8. It's still a 22. Yeah. That is not like super low in my book. I still think that's a pretty good score. It's one I enjoy. It's one I don't skip. Now that I've got more information of everything behind it too, because like the amount of information we got with this is amazing. Like I will forever get to sit there and be that person if it ever comes across my TV and someone hasn't seen it yet. I'd be like, Dan, like the main character, like that character wrote it.
Yeah,
all the things, like having those facts is so much fun.
Yeah, I would say like at least for like this, at least the way that we seem to be scoring episodes in Bob's and Once Upon a Time, I would say 20 to 30 are like episodes that we enjoy to an extent, even if some are like we like a little less than others.
Yeah,
I would say 20 and up seem to be ones that we enjoy. Once you're hitting below 20 is when like I really didn't like something in this.
Exactly, because like I still like just like the last episode, if you listen to Once Upon a Time episodes, I gave the most recent episode a 20, and that's still not bad. I enjoyed a lot of it. It just wasn't like, oh my god, my favorite. Exactly. So it's not. But are you ready for season 4, episode 19, Ambergris?
Episode 18, yes.
18. It is 18. 17 and 18. Why did I write 19?
I don't know.
See, we're not perfect. We have no idea what we're doing.
We are each 3 raccoons in a trench coat. So together we are 6.
Truly.
We are 6 raccoons.
There are days There are days that we both have to remind each other that together we have one brain.
Yes, exactly. Together we share the brain cell.
Yes. So, the kids find an odd clump of something that smells both gross and great. It's a large piece of ambergris, an illegal substance from whales that they plan to try and sell. Mr. Fishodor brings his brother over to the restaurant and gives the Belchers' bathroom problem over to Felix to fix. Louise becomes obsessed with getting money for their chunk of ambergris, and it leads to a chaotic journey with ex-cons, and all Jean wants to do is taste it. Felix gets the bathroom renovated, and they throw an unveiling, but the bathroom is odd. Louise tries to sell the ambergris, but it gets destroyed in the end. Did you know what ambergris was when you started this?
I did not.
Oh, yay! It's a real thing.
Oh, good. I figured.
But what did you get for the vacant storefront?
Was get a loom, you two couples weaving.
I thought it was cute.
I thought that was cute too.
And our pest control truck.
Rats gotta hurt pest control.
And Lauren cannot complain. Lauren has no ability to complain. She got burgers in both episodes, and this episode has 4.
It does. There are a lot of burgers in this episode.
So very happy Lauren this time around.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see what you got.
Sweet Home Avocado Burger.
That's for Leonard Skinner, Sweet Home Alabama.
Yep. To Air is Cumin Burger. I like that one. I don't know how that would taste, but it does sound good. Like, it's a good pun.
Yeah.
Hummus Atune Burger.
I'm curious how hummus would be on a burger.
I guess it's like a spread. I guess I wouldn't put like a lot of it on, but like to kind of spread like on the bun, I guess. Maybe
depending the flavor profile.
I would say if you got on like a lamb burger.
Oh, that would be good actually. But because you can do so many different flavors with hummus, like maybe even a good garlic or like a good I would even do something like a sun-dried tomato hummus would be really yummy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one more. Oh, I'm sorry. And the last one.
This one got cut off, so I don't know if I saw the whole thing. I wrote down, I slaw the coleslaw burger.
That is correct.
Okay.
So this is our first appearance of Felix Fishodor. This is Mr. Fishodor's. This is his first appearance.
Okay. First appearance.
So we will continue to see Felix Fishodor. It is because it's Calvin's little brother.
Yeah.
Were you able to pinpoint who voices him though?
I know he sounded familiar. I don't think I wrote it down, so no.
That is Zach Galifianakis.
Interesting. Okay, because I did write down, like, kudos on the guy who plays Felix, because I guess I must not have looked it up. Because he did his homework. He's doing a job of making it seem like he is Calvin's brother. Like, the vocal inflections were all there. He sounded very similar to him. So I say, yeah, it's like whoever plays Felix definitely did his homework.
I can definitely say that Zach Galifianakis does, like, he does good work. Like,
he does.
I think everything I've seen him in. He's a phenomenal actor. He's an amazing comedian. Like, I don't know how he does it, but he does it. He's really good. Obviously, Bill Hader is back as Mickey.
Yes.
Which makes us very happy. Just to start off, the possession. Why can't we do this every week?
We've been talking for an hour and a half.
The possession. I can't fucking talk. Every time I try to say it. The possession and trade of ambergris is prohibited by the Endangered Species Act of 1973. Okay. So it's nothing like super new. Apparently the word ambergris is mispronounced throughout the episode. I took French and it's a French word. When I read it, I see ambergris because usually the IS you don't tend to pronounce.
Yeah, that's how I would have assumed.
That's what I would have assumed as well. It gets a little bit funny too. It's not visible in the episode. The name of the website Tina researches ambergris on is called Jonah's Ambergris. Like Jonah and the whale.
The whale, yeah.
The logo features a whale reading a newspaper on the toilet.
Aww.
The magazine Linda and Felix are reading is called Modern Fixtures.
Okay.
And when Louise is pacing quickly in frustration, the nose calls her Blinky. This is very likely a reference to Pac-Man, where one of the antagonists is a ghost named Blinky.
Yeah.
So, once again, that was an episode.
That was an episode.
And you kind of got to see through this how intense Louise can get, which I think this is one of those episodes that people don't really tend to like Louise. But it definitely fits in with like her personality. You've got all the kids' personalities. We meet, obviously, of course, we meet Felix, and they just needed a plumber, but yet here they are with an entire bathroom renovation. Still more than what most landlords do, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, what did you think of this?
I mean, this one I liked it less than Equestranauts. I'll start there, but we'll go through my notes. I did appreciate when they were talking about Fish Odor and his phone number, and he was, how did you get it? When we met, you gave it to me, not to use. Yep, that sounds like a landlord's, like, I gave it to you. I didn't think you would actually use my phone number. But like, I get the feeling Felix will not be calling a plumber, and I was correct. And I understand that, like, because they're endangered species, like the selling of ambergris is not allowed. But I was like, but how illegal is it if they just found it and they didn't hunt a whale for it?
I'm unsure. It's like, used. It really is used in like perfumes and stuff. So like, if it's illegal to do that with, how is it in perfume? I don't understand anything with the laws on this, honestly.
No idea. I'm assuming this is where they're going, but yeah. So I'm with you that with how illegal is it? Well, because I guess that's also what they're referencing in the second Avatar movie, The Way of Water. Like, it's like they were using, like, they were hunting the giant whale like things for whatever, whatever it is they called it. I wasn't paying attention, but that was the substance they were farming for.
Yeah,
instead of unobtainium.
I half paid attention to that movie. I really did. Only half pay attention to
I don't remember what it was.
The fact that he's doing more, I'm just like, okay. Are there supposed to be like 4 more movies in that fandom?
I think they filmed at least 3. Like they filmed like 2 and 3 at the same time, I think.
Okay.
I think the plan was for 5.
Oh boy. Like, I'm not saying that they're like bad movies. I'm not the audience.
Yeah, I think the plan was for 5, but I'm not sure anymore on that. And now I'm curious what the name of that substance was, and if it was something as stupid as unobtainium.
Seriously,
because unobtainium, I mean, like, honestly, it's on the nose, but you know, it works. Avatar: The Way of Water. I saw it in. I will say though, I saw it in theaters, and I'm glad I saw it in theaters. I do want to, on a day that I just have 6 hours to kill, watch both movies back to back. Because quite frankly, from what I can remember, the first hour at least of Avatar: Way of Water is just the same, or the first hour and a half is just the same stuff from the first movie.
Yeah, it pretty much is. It's a little repetitive.
Bit. It's just through the lens of their son versus through them. Let's.
Yeah, like I said, it's definitely has an audience. I'm just not a big part of it.
I'm glad I saw it in theaters because it was beautiful to look at. Like, it was just visually very beautiful. They did a great job with it. But let's see. What is the name of this animal even? Tulkun is the name of the is the name of the animal. What's the name of the substance? I'm looking that up now. Okay.
I barely paid attention when my husband turned that movie on.
Okay, now we're Googling this.
See, lots of Googling. We are totally prepared. We know what we're doing.
I mean, could we have really foreseen that we were going to be looking up stuff from Avatar: The Way of Water?
I mean, it's got like a similar, like, I guess that kind of it just ties in with the fact of like ambergris. Like, was there, I guess, a time that they were hunted for the ambergris? Was it that important? Like, my goodness. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised with the way that things have been before.
Okay. Yeah, so the substance from the gland that the substance that they're hunting out of the tulkun is amrita. is
Oh, really?
that's at least a slightly more original name than unobtainium.
But it seems very close to ambergris in my
It's
opinion.
similar, and I think also like maybe it's also meant to be like a little bit like ambrosia.
Oh, that would make sense.
Given it's like a golden
Mm-hmm.
substance. So there's your Googling for this episode is looking
All
up stuff from
right.
Avatar: The Way of Water.
Because that's what we do.
Yes. I did appreciate the Lord of the Rings reference with Louise and with the ambergris, like, you know, hoarding it and making sure her precious and all of that. Because it's
oh yeah.
To be fair though, Mickey only asking for 10% is not a terrible cut out of him. Like, I understand her thing of wanting to. I understand Louise's take on, you know, wanting to cut him out because they're very much bringing out the worst in her. But like, as an adult, I mean, he's just clearly not that smart, is what we've established.
Yes.
He could be asking for a quarter or for 50%, and he's asking for 10%. Like, just give it to him, honestly.
Honestly, yeah. It's Mickey.
It's Mickey. Like, I know Tina wanted to believe that he really did want to go straight, but like, maybe after he robs the next bank, then he will go straight. The world may never know.
It is Mickey. We never know.
Mm-hmm. We may never know. But I was like, not the friar. I'm like, that made sense though. Like once they revealed the friar to be left open, that's your Chekhov's gun right there.
I just need to know if he still used that oil. Like, did he clean
He
that
probably
oil out?
did.
Or are we getting? Well, I guess that's one way for Jean to finally taste the ambergris.
Well, he had a little piece.
It was so weird. I was like, can we please not eat the ambergris? This feels a little.
Yeah.
I was not big on that part. I was like, let's not.
Yeah, no, let's not eat the ambergris. I was proud of Tina though for switching the hump. Like, that was very smart on her part. The cantaloupe and the dirty socks. Please return the cantaloupe and the dirty socks. Which is appropriate. The bathrooms though.
Yeah. What'd you think of that bathroom?
I mean, I've definitely seen some pretentious bathrooms in my time.
That is such a weird place to have a pretentious bathroom. A like hole in the wall burger place.
Well, to be fair, Felix wanted to have burlesque dancers and a Brazilian DJ at the unveiling party for a bathroom.
Another thing with continuity. That's the bathroom.
That's the bathroom.
That is the bathroom going forward now.
Oh, jeez. So do we figure out which one's the toilet and which one's the sink? Are they all?
I think they finally figure it out.
Like, I wouldn't put it past them for the whole, like, all of them to be both toilet and sink.
But wasn't there like 3 of them?
There were 3 of them.
Why were there 3?
That's what makes it so confusing and elite. Like, I haven't seen many in person. I've seen 1 or 2 where like the signs on the bathroom door are not always as indicative of I guess what you would find on the other side. I'm just gonna say what type of bathroom you would find, whether one with stalls or one without stalls. Not always the most indicative.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't say I've ever been to one that has an odd number just to be different. But still, it's pretentious bathrooms are they're a time.
Well, you'll have fun with that one. Like, that continues to be a bathroom, and we eventually have an episode where a lot of time is spent in the bathroom. So
lovely.
You kind of get to figure where things go at that point. But
I guess
that is like, I love their continuity with this though, because like first you get the tattoo, and now we've got the ice cream machine, and eventually there's like a really big one that like ties in with other things. It's really fun, but that's down the line.
Yeah.
But they do this quite often, if I remember. Oh, the van, like we see Jimmy Pesto's minivan, like eventually again. So like they're really good at that, and I love it.
I wish Once Upon a Time was just as good as that, because like I said in the last episode, that we see this new room in Regina's vault, and I don't think we ever see it again. Yeah. The mirror does stay there. I didn't say this in the last episode. That mirror wasn't there the last time we saw that angle. So that it's a continuity. So it could almost be implied that Regina created that room right now. Because we hadn't seen that mirror before, but that mirror will now always be there, implying that the room is always there.
Gotcha.
But like, stuff does happen on the show, and it was like, why did we just forget that we did this? Why?
And then you have Bob's Burgers, where it's like, we remember everything. We are gonna make sure, because like it makes me think like, okay, in the drawing room, do they just have, okay, we've had this episode, this room is now this, and no longer, and just do they get rid of the old one to be like, all right, this is the new thing?
That's the thing, is like once you alter something, like in like I'm assuming, I don't know how animation works. I don't know if like the backgrounds like remain static or what have you, like whatever you do with them. So like once you alter that background, you add an element, you change something. It's probably easier to leave it as that than to change it back.
That is true. But I don't have
Once
a ton.
Upon a Time has sound stages.
I don't have a ton on this one, just because, like I said, it's not a bad episode. I have a lot of fun with this one because they do decide to bring the worst out in Louise. A lot of people don't like this episode because you get the worst of Louise, but it's not a good show without dynamic characters, in my opinion. Yeah. Like for a little while there, we didn't like Tina. There's times we aren't gonna like Gene because he gets a little annoying. This is our time to not really be a huge fan of Louise because it's like, child, chill the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly.
So, fun times.
Good times.
And then, of course, poor Bob just dealing with, once again, people just not listening to him ever.
He's like, I just wanted the water fixed.
He's like, I just wanted you to call the plumber. Because technically you're supposed to call the landlord, so the landlord gets the problem fixed because it's their property. Yeah. He did his job, and then he's stuck with this like renovation and a DJ sleeping on his couch and all these things. And he's just like, can I please just have a working toilet?
That's all he wanted.
And then now he can't figure out which one's the toilet.
Yeah. I don't blame him.
I don't either. So what did you rate this?
So this one was still good, just not as high as the Equestranauts, which I would not have been able to tell you. That's what I was going to do before watching this week. So I gave plot and character both 8s. It was solid. And personal was a 9. So this one got 25 out of 30. So solid episode. Because this one was like, whereas last one was more like just like solid writing and solid chaos from beginning to end. This one is like kind of what I said last week about liking screwball comedies. Yes. This one was, because honestly, when it's one bit of chaos and another bit of chaos, like the kids and the parents, or like one group of the family and one group of the other, I almost prefer when we have two very distinct bits of chaos when they don't intermingle.
Yeah, that happens. I think
they work. I feel like that works better is when their chaoses remain separate of an A and a B plot that don't necessarily need to overlap. Which, to be fair, that is more of the screwball comedy formula, is when all the chaos all comes together. But I think in the case of like a 22 minute sitcom animated series, I think it works. I think the storylines work better if they don't.
Well, I have some good news for you.
Connect. Okay.
They do that a lot.
Okay.
So, because a lot of times, a lot of these episodes, they do, of course, do it where there's two separate stories and they mingle. Or like they start off together, do their thing, come back. Of course, there's a lot like this where it's just two separate stories happening at the same time. And then, like I said, we do get our anthologies from time to time, which is really enjoyable. Yeah. Then you just kind of mix in the Halloween episode, not Halloween's, the holiday episodes, and your random Jimmy Pesto. Like they have to throw in the Jimmy Pesto in from time to time because
it's part of the formula of the show.
It's part of the formula of the show. So you've kind of seen, I think, almost every formula apart from two-parters, because you get your first two-parter in 2 weeks. This is not the only one, obviously, though. The show's on its about to start. It's about to be technically into the 15th season. We're almost done with 14 at this point of recording. Once this is out, it'll be after the end of 14. And so, like, it's just how it's so much. That it happens that way. There's going to be other two-parters. And then eventually, of course, you've got the movie, which has its own formula in itself because it's a movie. It's an hour and a half. I think it's an hour and a half long, which it's an animated movie. Of course it is.
All right.
But with that, though, you do get only 4 more episodes in this season, and we are on to season 5.
Nice. Moving along.
We are moving along. What's happening?
I know. It's like we're deep in, I would say, deep into both shows. And like I think Once Upon a Time I keep saying we'll change in season 3 because season 3 is when they absolutely do change their formula. But like that's when we start seeing the A arc and the B arc of 11 episodes because that's just how it all aired.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to get to a point where you're gonna yell at me about something and I'm gonna be like, you're like, I have to wait a week, and I'm gonna go, we had to wait 3 months.
Oh no.
Suck it up.
That's fair, though. I think that's fair. That
There's
makes
one thing though
sense.
that's even funnier in this season, that for whatever reason it got teased 6 weeks before it ever aired, just due to scheduling and how,
Oh
like, it was like
no.
they teased it. It wasn't even like it was meant to be in the next episode. They just teased it early for no particular reason. But because there were other episodes in between, and it was before they were doing like the 11 straight weeks kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
they very much, sorry if you can hear my stomach,
You're fine.
they teased something 6 weeks before it ever aired.
Oh
And
God.
I'll let you know when that happens soon, though. But I'll let you know when that
I'd
happens.
be so mad.
I was mad.
I do that with Steven though right now with watching all our Shameless though because I binged Shameless, but there's times when something will happen. It's like the like one of the finales, and I just get to look at it and be like, "Isn't it great that we don't have to wait a year?"
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
one of those ones, it's 8 episode, no, 11 seasons, 8 episodes each, but they're like hour
Mm-hmm.
long episodes, so it is a lot of show, and a lot happens. But you're just kind of sitting there like, really happy. Like that's how I am right now with a lot of shows. I'm really happy I don't have to wait to watch it, which I
You're
find
right.
interesting with television right now because by the time we're recording this, the Fallout TV show is out. I have not watched it because
Mm-hmm.
I've never played Fallout. But I've already seen people are like, it would have been better if they just released an episode per week. And I'm like, what's happening to TV? What's happening?
Yeah. Like, they used to do that.
They
And
used to
then
do that.
they changed the formula because they thought this was better. And now they're finding out that people do actually prefer that. I mean, like, I'm okay with, like, things being available the next day. Like, the kind of thing of,
Mm-hmm.
like, by the end of the season airing, you can watch the whole season in one go.
Yes.
I like that better because, like, that's what happened with Once Upon a Time. Is that was at a time when Hulu was doing that. It was they were posting it the next day,
Mm-hmm. That's how we
and
watch
then
Bob's.
yeah, and it by the end of the season, like, by the time I got to it around when they were airing episode 17, 18, everything that was aired at that point was available to watch. So I was able to get caught up,
Mm-hmm.
but then I still had the experience of watching it 1 week at a time. Like, there's an in between
Yeah.
dropping 8 episodes in one go and 1 episode a week for 22 weeks. There is an in between.
I feel like I really miss, like, I know we get this with Bob's Burgers and like our animation of 22, 24 episodes, but I think a lot of us really miss having these one like shows like Once Upon a Time where you get 20 something episodes in the entire season
Yeah,
and
there's room for more
it's
story.
room for more story. It's 40 something minute like they're long episodes. They're not
Yeah.
super short. Now we'll get shows and it's 8 episodes, but like maybe 30, 40 minutes long, and that's your whole season. 8 to 10 episodes. And there's
Well, like,
just not enough time to like I miss filler episodes.
no, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Is I think with the old formulas, there was room for those filler episodes because in those filler episodes is where you got really attached to those characters.
Exactly.
Like right now, with, like you're saying, with like the 8 to 13, 40-minute episodes, hour-long episodes, what have you, there isn't as much time to really get attached to the characters because there's only plot. It's 8 plot-heavy episodes, one right
Mm-hmm.
after the other.
And you have to
And
pay attention like so strongly to make sure you get all the information.
exactly, like with Once Upon a Time, like, I, I would say Tallahassee, for all intents and purposes, is kind of filler. There's a little bit of plot going on there, but that's mostly kind of character background for Emma.
Mm-hmm.
I would say even the doctor is heavy filler because that one was just Frankenstein and Regina backstory and trauma. A whole lot of plot didn't happen in that episode. Like, I would say Child of the Moon also kind of filler. Like, see, like, these seasons had room, and that's like why I say season 3 forward, there isn't as much space for filler in those seasons because
Yeah.
they truncate their storylines into 11 episodes each. And, like, it's unfortunate because I think so many of those arcs would have benefited from more episodes.
It's just it's the day and age. And then I've got like
Yeah.
for weeks now Netflix we'll log in to watch our show because it's on Netflix, and it'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, do you want to downgrade and have ads?" And of course we're saying no. We have a one screen thing because it's just us and the kids, and when we are on Netflix, the kids are in bed,
Yeah.
like mostly. Yeah, it asked us last night if we wanted to upgrade.
Ah.
So for weeks, it's asked us to downgrade and go to ads, not back to. I'm sorry, Netflix having ads is like completely messing with my brain. Like why?
Yeah.
Um, and now they're asking us to upgrade, and I'm like, I want to get rid. Like I actually want to get rid of Netflix at this point
Yeah.
because it's like, why am I paying for this? It's And their shows are not as good as they used to be. Because how long is if I think back to like original Netflix shows that we've always like a lot of us really enjoyed, ones that were like had like cult followings. Orange is the New Black is one that comes to mind. I can't remember how many episodes were in that though.
A lot.
There was a
I was
lot,
in
right?
college. I was in college when that started, I believe.
Oh, I was obsessed with it. It had. See, I'm Googling again. Episode guide. So season 1, 51 to 60-minute episodes. 13 episodes though.
Yeah, they had over 7 seasons. They had 91 episodes,
which is a lot of content. But what I liked about that one is we still technically had filler episodes with Orange is the New Black because we got everybody. They started doing everyone's backstories. Like an episode would be somebody's backstory, and I ate that up. Netflix, I don't feel, has done something as well as that. Like formula
for original content.
Like
for original content. Yeah,
and so it's us. We like TV and media, so of course we're going to talk about TV and media.
Back in our day.
Well, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing so many people are like, I'm watching, like a lot of people, they're seeing that people are watching older shows, the old formulas. Where, like, I told you today that I'm like, I'm ready for another like Charmed rewatch because they also had the same like old TV formulas, and I'm just like, something's got to give in TV and media, and I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
No, I don't think so.
They're with all the changes they're making to our streaming services. I'm like, what are you guys doing to us? Yeah, I know.
Stealing our money.
Right? Stealing our money. As we continue to watch and binge things.
Yeah. It is what it is at this point. We deal with the landscape we deal with the hellscape that we have.
Right.
Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Once Upon a Time, episode 213, Tiny. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. Follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and TikTok. And if you'd like to join our new book club, you can find the link with more details in our show notes.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Katie and Lauren and edited by Katie.